So the other day, about a couple of days before the start of the new year, one of the last clips that Mr. Unknown R.I.P. put up, because his channel is known for sharing clips of characters, transforming, changing, shape shifting, being flattened, melting, and all that, as well as being restored from said incident. Um, he put he put up a clip from the Winx Club, and you know, along with the clip, it was also recommended, along with some other videos related to it. One of the videos that was related to it, I should say, was the episode where it came from, which was apparently, if I remember right, season 5, episode 4. Anyway, it involved the character Tecna, who's also a Winx, who gets a dark spell casted onto her phone by the sirens. I think it's the sirens, I believe, the witches or whatever they're called. And this dark spell causes Tecna, when she touches her phone, to get turned into a robot, and her phone to be like the last component needed to complete the transformation. So what happens is, as a robot now, she's able to download information a lot quicker. She's able to fly without her wings because, of course, she's a robot, and she's able to shoot lasers out of her eyes. To kind of keep people away from her doing her job or whatever. And her friends do restore her, because one of the things Mr. Unknown R.I.P. puts up as well most of the time is the reverting part of the character being restored. Anyway, like I said, not he, but anyway, what happens is the Winx, her friends, the rest of the team Winx, restore her, break the dark magic spell on her phone, and they're still, and she, afterwards is able, a little cautious, mind you, because she thinks it's a dream until they confirm no, it wasn't. And basically she's a little hesitant, but at the encouragement of her friends, Tecna is able to use her phone without being affected this time to find what they need. And of course, it's a book that could be like the last resort. And this, of course, would lead to that final confrontation, or that final battle they would have to save the world, to where they would become basically elements that they represent. They basically become spirits. They give up their humanity temporarily, not permanently, but temporarily. Um, anyway, to get back to what I'm saying here, I saw this and it got me thinking, back to when, Archie Comics did the Mega Man Sonic crossover, the first one, Worlds Collide. And you had all of the friends of Sonic, with the exception of Tails, who did get, roboticized, and Rouge, who got roboticized later. But again, with them being the exception, it got me thinking to when most of them got turned into roboticized masters. Again, Tails was one of the first, and he got restored. Rouge was the last. So, so basically she wouldn't apply to this in what I'm about to say. And I do apologize. It's early. It's about 9:26, and my mom's still asleep, and my third oldest nephew is asleep in the guest room. He's going home today because he spent New Year's with us, so trying to do this as best I can. I do apologize. But anyway, like I said, Rouge kind of got affected later, so this, what I'm about to say, doesn't apply to her. But one of the first things I talked about when I was reviewing and talking about the crossover and all that is, you have Wily and Eggman turned Sonic's friends into roboticized masters under new names, and it's like, well, why didn't they add more to them? And to me, I think the biggest, the biggest element that they could have added to really make things threatening and challenging for the heroes is not just have a self-destruction, a self-destruct, I guess you can say, mechanism or signal or operation installed in them when they got roboticized and all that. But also, why didn't they just add in the element of merging them together into one big roboticized master? You could have, Amy and Knuckles I would say you could have Amy and Knuckles as the arms, Blaze and Silver as the legs, and so on. and so on. And as well as the chaotics become part of the chest, comprise that of the chest, and then really make things threatening because, and then of course Shadow being like the head and all that, but then you make things really threatening because now they got to find a way to not only save their friends, but save them before the self-destruction goes off and everything, you know, and at the same time, they got to try to demerge them, kind of, make them kind of separate from each other. And to me, that would have made things more challenging, more dramatic, and maybe add a bit of conflict with, Mega Man and Sonic. And the same goes with the Metal Virus arc, believe it or not. You have all these people, all these characters affected by this virus, including the chaotic, including a majority, I'd say, of the chaotics, and including Vanilla, including Tangle, and you're seeing them, one panel that's like towards the end of an issue, all of them approaching, the restoration area, and you're wondering to yourself, you look at them and how they're presented, like they got the red in their mouth and the red in their eyes, like they could shoot lasers out and everything if they wanted to. You're wondering to yourself, well, why didn't the Eggman add in a little a little something to really make things crazy? And like I said, you could have had um, the virus that was affecting them, you know, basically like, envelop them, like kind of grow over them, spread. I wouldn't say come off them and all that because that would cure them, but basically like envelop them, like in a bubble, and just basically start, rising up a little bit and attaching them, and then they all basically, head into one designated area, and you see them all merge together into this big blob-like virus monster. And again, that would have made things a lot more interesting, a lot more intriguing, because then you could see them all floating within the arms and legs and the body of this monster, still affected, but now they're all united like under one mind. And again, that would have made things a lot more interesting, to say the least, and um, a lot more intriguing. To wonder, okay, how is Sonic and his friends going to get out of this, especially with him also being affected by this stuff as well, or slowly being affected. And again, you have all these opportunities, but you to go that route, but you never did. And then when I look at the Tecna thing from Winx Club, I'm thinking, well, okay, I can understand why they didn't go this route, or they didn't go any further, but they could have. They could have gone further. They could have had Tecna, gain the ability to transform, like let's say, into a little jet and everything, and take off around to try to find more information, like out of the library where they were at, and fly all over. And they would have to go after her to try to stop her and restore her, make things a little bit more interesting, more intriguing. But they didn't do that. And if there's one credit I can give, let's say, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, is at least they tried that. Because there was a sequel. There was the sequel, it's the second Wirewolf episode, and it involved this robotic vampire as well, who we'd seen previously. And my finger just hit the mic there, I do apologize. And long story short, you had Booster and Mira get affected. And Mira became more dog-like than Booster, even to the point that when they came back to the vampire guy, she ran towards him like a dog towards master. And what does he do? What does the vampire guy do? He puts his hand on Mira's head and pets it a little bit because, of course, she's a wild wolf. She's a dog now. So, there's nothing, there's nothing that tells her, hey, this is kind of wrong, Anyway, get back to the point. When they get infected and they're told to, like, go after Buzz and XJ9 or XR9 or whatever his name is, what happens is, Buzz and XR are thinking, oh, they can't come after us. And then all of a sudden you see Mira just produce these wings out of her back, like, and then Booster produced this big old rocket, a little rocket out of his back. And it even surprises Buzz and XR, like, oh, I had no idea they can do that. And again, credit where credit is due. At least Disney took the opportunity to say, what if, this happens to a character like Mira? Does she just become a robotic werewolf, or does she do more? And she does more. She ends up doing more. So again, give him credit where credit is due. In that, and that's something that to me, a lot of these other places, like I said, with the situation with Tecna and Winx Club in season 5, episode 4, or even with the Archie books with the roboticized masters, or even the IDW Sonic books with the metal virus, they could have done a lot more, but they didn't. So I guess what I'm saying in closing, because I know some people might feel like this doesn't make any sense, what you're saying, I will say this. I'll put this out there right now. If anybody works in animation or in the comic industry, and you guys are listening to this, take my suggestions, strongly. You're going to go this route where you can have a character temporarily turn into a robot or whatever, or get infected by a metal virus like ARC or whatever. Do more with the situation. Make it more complex. Make it more challenging for the heroes so that the readers and the viewers can get more invested. That's all I'm going to say. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on what I had to say here. And until next time, I am out.